Storytime about how I got an insane stalker from working at a strip club and professionally cuddling. Professionally cuddling is like platonic touch therapy. I'm essentially paid $100 an hour to listen to clients vent and non-sexually cuddle them. I met lots of different clients, both good and bad. You can always tell who's good or bad by their karma. A karma is like a review. One of my clients who was especially respectful was named George, and I will tell you why George is very sus later on. He was really chill and he would take me out to do anything I wanted to do, such as restaurants or mini golfing. Even if we weren't cuddling, he'd still pay me. Gotta get that bag. While I did spend a lot of my time with him, I did have other clients. One person after him that we'll call Tim left a review on my karma, saying that I was the best cuddler. The next day, I woke up to the site banning me for inappropriate behavior. There was fake inappropriate screenshots sent in, where someone was clearly using photos you could easily find on my Instagram. And the text literally said, "I'll even let you touch my butt." Like, who even talks like that? Then Tim sent me a screenshot of him getting a message from a random number. That's when I realized it may have had to do with his review. I quickly got my account back because I let the site know I was being harassed, but this is when things got worse. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Storytime about my crazy stalker that I got from professionally cuddling and working at a strip club. So not long after I got my banned account back, I received a message from a random number telling me to delete my account by 10 p.m. that night, or else they would tell my family that I was professionally cuddling. They sent my mom, dad, and stepmom's number in the text, so I knew they were serious. I was like, who are you and why are you doing this? And they claimed that they were an old friend from high school and that they were extremely concerned about me and that the old me wouldn't have done this. This didn't sound like anyone I knew, but I decided that I was just going to go ahead and tell my parents because I did not want anyone holding anything over me. So I let my parents know and they were extremely supportive. And when I didn't delete my account and they reached out, my mom clapped back at this person and said if they were actually my friend, they would support me and not conceal their identity. Fast forward a little bit, I started working at a strip club. I thought the stalker stuff was done. Not long after I liked the Facebook page of the strip club I was working at, I received a text from a random number asking if I worked at that strip club with a photo of me from that Facebook page. This is when I got an even bigger threat than before. Stay tuned for the next part and follow me on Instagram. Storytime part 3 about my crazy stalker that I got from professionally cuddling and working at a strip club. So after my stalker found out that I was working at a strip club, he sent me my next threat. Because he found out through Facebook, he got a hold of all my friends and family list. Guys, I honestly recommend keeping your Facebook friends private. And he was going to tell them all by 10 p.m. if I don't quit. I picked up the phone, started yelling at him, and all I heard was silence on the other end. So then a Facebook page named Kathy, who was like an old lady and obviously was a fake Facebook, sent this message to everyone with the photo of me working at the strip club, including my grandma. Like, are you trying to give my grandma a heart attack? So I had to explain to everyone that I was working there but not as a stripper. This is when George reached back out to me, saying that he also got the same message from Kathy. But how would this mysterious Instagram know to message him? He was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're working at a strip club with all those dirty old men. He offered to help and said I should quit, and that's when I put the pieces together that he was my stalker. I was able to compile the evidence together and get my old account back, which he'd banned again. And I haven't heard from him since. If you have a story like this, follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. Storytime about how I found out my dad was hooking up with other men on Craigslist. To provide a little bit of backstory, when my sister was 16, she came out as bisexual. My dad, being homophobic and conservative, kicked her out. So this set a tone for when I was born. I was raised to be anything but gay. If something looked, smelled, or seemed straight, he forced it on me. ATVs, monster trucks, whatever. My mom, on the other hand, was a lot more kind-hearted. She let me use her makeup and nail products, and essentially anything that I was interested in, such as gaming and fashion. Because of arguments and my dad cheating, my parents decided to get a divorce. But they did have joint custody. When I would go to my dad's, it seemed like his homophobia was getting worse. He would blast adult entertainment on the TV and bring home girls from his little biker gang. One day I accidentally left the AC on and it flooded the apartment. This led to a massive argument between my dad and I. We started arguing about everything, including the girls that he was bringing home. I stated that I didn't like girls in that way, and that's when everything clicked for him about my sexuality. Then he kicked me out. I was homeless until my mom was able to come get me. Years later, I got a voice message from my sister saying dad's gay. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Instagram. Storytime about how I found out my dad was hooking up with other men on Craigslist. I absolutely did not believe my sister whenever she said that dad was gay. I was like, absolutely, there's no way. What's the proof? And I guess my dad had given his grandson, my nephew, his old laptop. On this laptop, he still had his ads up that basically said, come leave money on the seat for services. And it had a picture of his white truck. I was still in denial for the longest time because of how homophobic my dad was, but we decided to watch the Craigslist account for a bit, and during a time that we knew that he was dropping off our grandma in Florida, he posted on Craigslist using that exact rental car that he was using. Even though I was pretty much convinced at this point, it was later verified by a family friend who had seen him at a brothel that this was in fact true. He also was a locksmith for a living and used this job title in the email associated with the account. So for that upcoming Christmas, we compiled all the evidence together, put it all into a stocking, and set it out off for family Christmas. Follow the guy who sent me this story, and if you have a story that you'd like to share, DM me and follow me on Instagram. Story time about my extremely toxic best friend. We'll call her Kim. So Kim was always extremely obsessive with me. She would always question me anytime I was hanging out with someone that wasn't her. I thought it was maybe just some sort of codependence, but then I realized how toxic she was after I got a boyfriend. The second that I told her, she was like, we have to test him. We have to see if he'll cheat on you, and I can be the bait. And I was like, absolutely not. Yet she went ahead and did it anyways. She messaged him saying how lonely she was and was flirting with him. Like, who does that? For some reason, I still told myself she was trying to be a concerned friend. But many months later, after I got a new boyfriend and then we broke up, she reached out and started flirting with him and being extremely touchy. We literally had a rule that we couldn't get with each other's exes, as girls should. But I confronted her one day and I was like, what is going on with you and Brad? And Kim admitted that she had feelings for my ex. I was like, he literally has a girlfriend, don't be a homewrecker. You'll just be a rebound. But she went ahead and got with him anyways. He broke her heart 24 hours later. And she came to me crying and I just sat there like this. But then her obsession with me got worse. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Instagram. Story time about my extremely toxic best friend. So for weeks, she was still hung up over hooking up with my ex. And anytime I was talking to someone else, she would always ask if it's a boy or a girl, and then she would go out of her way to be close with them. So at this point, we pretty much just had the same friend group. Everything was shared between us. She was completely obsessed with whoever I was in a relationship with at the time. She would ask so many questions, accuse me of stealing her crushes, and would go through my phone. When she would read through my text, she would give me a whole entire lecture afterwards about how she'd never say or do the things that I do. I told her that I was just trying to have normal conversations with these guys. She also started talking about my body a lot. Kim would talk about how she was too flat and she wanted boobs and a butt like me, and then obsess over it for days. She even had the audacity to try to get other people to spread rumors about me. She did everything in her power to make the people that were close to me hate me. Thankfully, she is now officially out of my life and annoying another girl. Choose your friends wisely, and if you guys have a story that you'd like to share, follow me and DM me on Instagram. Story time. My ex threatened to kill me and then shut down the school with a bomb threat. And it ended up on the news. So me and this guy that we'll call Charlie dated on and off from my freshman to sophomore year. We ended up breaking up because he cheated on me. But during my junior year, he was dating one of my friends who was a senior. He wanted her to go around the school and find a spot for them to make out, but she didn't really feel comfortable with this. So I decided to grab her phone and hide it from her so she wouldn't be able to leave with him. He found out that I had her phone and he approached me. He told me to give it back and I was like, no, it's not your phone. Well, he decides to grab my wrist and threaten me. Later that night, I got a screenshot sent to me saying that I was lucky that he didn't have a knife on him like he normally does. Well, the next day in school, we all walked to the counselor's office, me, his girlfriend, and some other friends who all had screenshots of this text. He literally followed us because we were with his girlfriend. The office gets us set up writing statements about him, but also told us that he would need to write one too. So once he was finished writing his, he leaned over to my friend and then threatened her by pulling out his knife. This is when he blows things quite literally out of proportion, so stay tuned and follow me on Instagram. Storytime part 2, my ex threatened to kill me and then shut down the school with a bomb threat. So after he turns around and threatens my friend who's helping report him, he rushes out of the building and we turn and tell the office lady what he just said. She tried to call for him to get him to come back, but instead he ended up just bolting across the campus. They released my friends and I to go back to class, and everything was normal for about 2 class periods, but then in the hallway on our way to our 3rd period, they made everyone evacuate to the fields. They didn't even tell us why we were being evacuated, and we had to wait out there until it was all cleared for us to go back in, and once we were back in our classrooms, we were told it was a bomb threat. Everyone ended up finding out that it was Charlie who made this threat. It actually came out that he was threatening people with an unknown substance in a vial that he kept in his backpack. Come to find out, it was just makeup, like powdered makeup, that was unmarked. To this day, we don't know why he had makeup in his backpack and why he was saying that it was a bomb, but it was literally all reported on the local news in our city. Follow me for more story times and add me on Instagram for more content. And on today's Makeup with Liz, this is what we're attempting. Today we've got a whole sunset in the background, and I just feel like it matches. You guys know the girl that puts on a lot of foundation, but it looks so good? She uses her hand, so that's what we're doing. I think this is how it's done. Okay, am I crazy or does this look more natural? We're gonna start with this shade in the Maven Beauty palette. I was freezing. So now we're just fluffing this right on up. It looks kind of cute. I'm gonna make this a lot sharper by wiping it away. We're gonna add some depth using this color. It looked like she had some on the top as well. Now we're gonna go back in with the purple and create a wing. I'm not sure if this is getting better, but we're still going for it. Time for the blue. Ooh, she's getting mysterious. And now I'm just dying for this gold. It's so shiny. Oh my god. Time to do the mascara. Ta-da. I don't have curlers with me, so we're just gonna hold. I'm gonna go back through and highlight some areas with this bad boy.